I, 27 female, have a perfectly healthy older brother, Alex, 30, and a younger brother, 25, Max, who is on the spectrum and has had mental challenges his whole life. My parents were Max's primary caregivers. They always did their best and cared for Max, often at the expense of completely ignoring Alex and me. However, Alex stayed back in the city and worked with Dad. I left when I was 18, so I was in low contact with them. Unfortunately, my parents both passed away during COVID. Because I was in a different state, Alex and his family took Max in and started caring for him. I got a call from Alex asking me to visit him to talk about Max, so I did. Alex told me he was physically and emotionally exhausted from caring for Max, that he couldn't spend as much time with his wife and son as he would like, and asked me to temporarily take Max home with me. Well, I currently live with my wife, 30, and our two little ones, toddler and kindergartner. My wife has a demanding job. Even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, I barely have time for myself. Alex insisted that my wife could easily afford to hire help and care for Max. I told him I wasn't emotionally ready to take him in. Alex told me he was disappointed in me and thought Max would be more valuable, in my opinion. There was a really long argument there. I came home and told my wife all about this. She agrees with me that taking Max in wouldn't be possible for us, but she suggested we could look for a facility or group home that can meet all his needs for him and pay for it. I offered Alex the solution I'd found. He called me a heartless monster and a terrible sister for even suggesting that, and said Max was our brother and should be at home with his family where he belongs. I feel like such a horrible person for not wanting to do this. No matter how much my wife tells me this is Alex's frustration with the situation, misplaced towards me, I still feel like I'm in the wrong. Now, am I the idiot for not wanting to take Max in? Not the idiot. A group home with qualified caretakers would be the best thing for everyone. I worked in excellent group homes and they can benefit the person. There are several practical considerations too. What agreement did Alex have with your parents? Did your parents set up any trust to provide for Max? Did Alex inherit money or property to be used for Max's support? Why isn't Alex hiring a caregiver for Max and letting him stay where he is? Your brother no longer wants to care for him, so he's trying to put this responsibility on you. And for goodness sake, if he gets settled in a good group home now and adjusts, it will be easier if Max outlives his siblings too. He has to deal with losing another home and more family, and the state making this decision, or worse, him being homeless. And the audacity to call OP a heartless monster and terrible sister when he's trying to dump their brother on OP and also expecting OP's wife to pay. Why doesn't he pay for his brother's care if he doesn't want him in a care facility? So hypocritical. Exactly. Your wife is right that the best solution here is to look for a group home or other facility for Max. However, Alex should also understand that you can't unilaterally make that decision. Obviously, your wife needs to be involved. And she said no. Also, pretty bold of him to assume that your wife will just pony up the cash for a carer for Max. He's presumptuous and you must stand up for yourself. In my opinion, you are the idiot. If family means anything to you, you should be willing to share the burden. It's clear Alex cares more about Max than you do, and you arguing with him over that fact makes you an idiot. Can you all share responsibility for him and take turns? He's been Alex's full responsibility for 4 years, and it's your turn to take over. You should definitely help your brother with Max, and you already know that. My wife and I have been together for 15 years. Together we have a teen daughter, Amy, and she has a nearly adult daughter, Lisa. Lisa is very girly, just like my wife. She also looks like my wife a lot, and they're both very beautiful. My wife believes that girls must wear girly clothes, dresses, skirts, and other things like this. However, the problem is that Amy doesn't have much of a girly face and doesn't look good in girly clothes. A few weeks ago, we took some pictures of both girls and my wife put Lisa's pictures in the living room. However, she insisted that we should put Amy's pictures in her bedroom because there's no more space in the living room. She didn't exactly say she thought Amy was ugly, but both Amy and I knew that this was basically what she meant, and Amy had tears in her eyes. I was so mad, so I decided to do something. I got a hairdresser appointment for Amy and told her she can do whatever she wants. She cut her hair short and coloured them. Then we got 2 more piercings on her ears, and we went shopping and bought many clothes for her. This time, instead of choosing dresses, she decided to buy boy clothes. She looked amazing in them and was very happy. This is where I might be the idiot. We can't afford to buy that many clothes when she doesn't need them. I am the breadwinner and my wife is the stay-at-home mom. She's been saving money for a vacation and looking forward to it because she doesn't get to go on vacations much. I have access to my wife's account and I used her vacation money to pay for everything. When we returned home, my wife was horrified because I didn't inform her about changing my daughter's appearance. She asked me where I got the money to buy those, and I told her the truth. She just burst out crying, calling me an idiot because she didn't get to have fun for years and I stopped her from going on a vacation that she was looking forward to. She thinks I'm the idiot and is giving me the silent treatment. Am I the idiot? Wow, you both suck hard here for different reasons. Your wife obviously for making your poor daughter feel bad about herself, but you, sir, don't get a free pass to steal your wife's savings, especially since it sounds like a vacation is a rare thing for her. Two wrongs don't make a right. This warranted a serious private discussion with your wife and a plan for better treatment of your youngest, not theft. You really are dense as heck. A haircut and some hair dye were more than enough, but going on an expensive shopping spree when you absolutely cannot afford it, with your wife's vacation money, is an absolute idiot move. A discussion between you and your wife would have clarified the situation about the photos, but what you did was extremely immature and reckless. I hope she divorces you and takes half of your crap since you so proudly claim you're the breadwinner. I vote you are the idiot for this. Amy doesn't have much of a girly face and doesn't look good in girly clothes. And also this, I have access to my wife's account and I used her vacation money to pay for everything, without discussing it with her. And you are the idiot to your daughter for this. She insisted that we should put Amy's pictures in her bedroom because there is no more space in the living room. Dude, you let your wife do this. You failed to stand up for your daughter. I feel sorry for Amy. I disagree. OP's not the idiot. I have no problem with you raiding your vacation fund. Your wife can be upset that you dipped into the vacation fund, but she's been on vacation for years because she doesn't work. Two teenage children who spend much of their time in school with their friends and are involved in teenage activities don't need intensive parental care. No diaper changes, no bottle feedings, no middle-of-the-night breastfeeding. She essentially lives the life of a retired person. Maybe if she had a job, she wouldn't have the time to focus so intently on your daughter's looks and fashion choices. I, 23 female, have long golden hair that's down to my mid-thigh. I'm 5'4" and I've been growing it out for a long time. I had waist-long golden blonde hair as a teen, and I was friends with this girl who would often tell me how damaged and frizzy it was, and how it would look so much nicer if I cut it short. It was then brown as I'd had it cut, and I felt that it looked plain and no healthier, as having long or frizzy hair doesn't automatically mean it's damaged. I later learned that she was jealous and sabotaging me and decided I'd never listen to her hair advice again. My sister, 25, is getting married. We're all very excited. Last week she pulled me aside and said my hair is too long, it looks bad, and she doesn't want it in her wedding photos. I thought it was really rude, but I told her I'd wear it up. She said it's too long to wear up, and even when I wear it up, it looks too big for my head and body. I told her that's fine, I won't be in the photos. She told me I was bound to be in the photos if I was there, so I told her I won't go as I wasn't cutting my hair. My family agrees with her, saying it's her big day and other things, e.g. I won't get a job, look scruffy, too old to have hair that long, and demand I cut it. I want to be clear, my hair is no longer frizzy. I use good shampoo for wavy hair, so it's long and wavy. It's also thick, so it isn't thinning. It's very shiny, and I take good care of it and get trimmed so there are no split ends. I get a lot of compliments about my hair, and I've never had any trouble with work, and I see no reason to cut it other than the wedding, which I'm not willing to do. I suspect my sister is jealous and doesn't want my hair to take away her attention, but she can't outright say that. OMG, it's a stupid wedding season again. It's like everyone is either a giant idiot or being pushed around by a giant idiot. Don't allow yourself to be pushed around. Not the idiot. This obsession some brides have over their wedding photos is unhealthy and bizarre. You just have naturally long hair. She should get over it. The irony is that most of the time the photos are forgotten about after the first couple of years. I had a bridesmaid that decided her super pale skin needed a spray tan 24 hours before the wedding. She also went nuclear blonde and neon green nail polish with the deep purple bridesmaid dresses. There was nothing I could do on the day of, so I rolled with it, but I do remind her of how she looked and is now mortified by it because the goal was as much attention as possible. Keep your hair, the pictures won't matter down the road. But what is wrong with your family? At age 23, you're getting too old to have long hair? Oh heck no. You are correct. Your sister doesn't want the attention to be on you. She just doesn't want to admit it. The compromises you offered were utterly reasonable, and if you have a professional put your hair in an updo, they can probably style it in a way so it doesn't look too big for your head. My sister and niece, pre-tween, fell on hard times and needed a place to stay. My wife and I have a daughter 1 year older and live in a 2-bedroom townhouse, so there isn't too much space, but we wanted to help out, so we have my niece in my daughter's room and my sister is on the couch. My daughter and niece already had some problems with sharing the room. My daughter is a light sleeper and doesn't like any light or noise, but my niece is scared of the dark and sleeps with a fan or noise machine. We were able to compromise on that, but then my daughter brought up the issue of my niece getting up in the middle of the night and bringing my sister to their room to redo their nighttime routine. It almost always wakes my daughter up. I told my daughter that she could lock the door whenever her niece left the room to get her mom. Now my sister is complaining about my niece getting kicked out the room every time she gets up to get water or go to the bathroom. Her having to sleep on the floor whenever she needs to give her daughter the couch. I told her that I told my daughter to lock the door when her niece wakes her up, and if she doesn't want to sleep on the floor, tell her niece to stay in her bed at night. Now sister wants to keep my niece's mattress in the living room, but there's nowhere for her to put it during the day, so I said no. Now she's complaining to my wife, who says our daughter and I are being rude, and we need to stop locking my niece out the bedroom. My sister also threatened to stop babysitting. She watches the kids after school because the agreement was she and her daughter would have a bed. Apparently I'm going back on that. I told her that if she stopped contributing to the household, she and her daughter could leave. Now my wife and I are fighting over this, and I wanted to know who's the idiot for this. You are the idiot for the way you're treating a young child. She's been displaced from her home. She's been made to feel unwelcome. She's sleeping on the freaking floor for having the audacity to need a drink of water or to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. To add, you're teaching your daughter a real lack of compassion. Telling his daughter that her sleep is less important than her cousin going through her bedtime routine repeatedly in the night isn't going to teach her compassion. Sorry, but no one's bedtime routine is important enough to be repeated in the middle of the night on a regular basis. Not when doing that tortures someone else. And waking someone up and disrupting their sleep is torture. Not the idiot. This sleeping arrangement is not compatible. Get a twin air mattress and your niece can sleep in the living room. In my opinion, it's a bit more everyone's the idiot here. It's going too far to lock your niece out of the room every time she gets out of bed. Plenty of people need a wee or a drink in the night. That's not unreasonable and should be very minimally disruptive. It's unreasonable to repeat an entire bedtime routine in the middle of the night when another person sleeps in the same room. But it should be enough to tell your sister that if your niece asks to repeat the bedtime routine, the answer either needs to be no, and she goes quietly back to bed, or she stays with your sister for the rest of the night in the living room. If she won't agree to that, she's an idiot. But if you don't give her that opportunity, you are. I take my toddler son to the kids' playground several times a week. He loves the swings and the slides. Today, a dog owner with a 10 to 15 pound dog was at the playground. Never seen this guy before. He was letting him play on all the equipment. I don't think he had a kid with him. A few kids were using the equipment, including my son. Some of the kids were playing with the dog. My son is scared of dogs. We don't have one and he isn't used to being around them. It's just not something he's used to. He tried to go play, but he was running back to me any time it would get close to him. I asked the owner to keep his unleashed dog away from the playground. He immediately gets defensive. He says, "No, you're the only one with an issue and my dog deserves to have fun too." I respond by saying playgrounds aren't for dogs. You shouldn't be here. He says to leave him alone and that I'm an idiot. His dog is still running around and even approached my son looking to play. Of course, my son runs back. We pack up to prematurely leave. We start arguing again and words are exchanged. Am I wrong here? You're definitely not the idiot then. I'm not sure how I'd proceed in your shoes. Public shaming usually works. Taking a video of the guy and the dog unleashed at a park, saying he's breaking the law and he's unwilling to leave, which is prioritizing his animal over the children there. I'm sure there are better solutions than mine, but this is a sticky situation because even though you're right, he's an idiot and won't care. I mean, if there are no signs prohibiting dogs on the playground, then technically he has every right to allow his dog there. I understand why you'd want him to leave, but if he had every right, he wouldn't have any reason to listen. I get where you're coming from, though. Playgrounds are for kids, not dogs. But honestly, you should help your son work through his fear of dogs. He will encounter them for the rest of his life. It's unavoidable. So having at least basic understanding of them is in his best interest. So if there are no signs against having dogs present, then it's okay for them to be there. I want to point out that it's a dog on the equipment that is only rated for children. Yes, your dog can be there in the area and around the grass, but the equipment is unacceptable. Are there signs that children aren't allowed at dog parks? No, but it's understood that children shouldn't be using dog equipment or running up to dogs at dog parks. This is a safety issue. The dog could also get injured on the equipment not made for them.